there is a very important holiday, and it actually ties perfectly into setting the tone for Q1. You are going to win 2021 by how you approach Q1. And I couldn't help but just like reflect on the serendipitous timing that came along with having the first Free Tool Friday of the year on this particular day. So as I'm sharing my screen here, you'll see that there's a galette de roi, okay? And it's essentially a king cake. Now, I'm not proclaiming myself king by any stretch of the imagination, but there's these cakes, and when you have the cake, there's a little hidden figurine, and it's hard as rock. It's like a really, really hard rock candy. And anyway, the point is when you have the piece of cake that has the little thing in it, you're the king for the day. So they put the crown on you. It's kind of funny. And I happen to win it this year. But what I want to do is emphasize that it is a king cake, a cake associated in many countries with epiphany. And the epiphany that I want to make sure that I share with you is this, is that proactive does not just mean delivering service. Proactive means being able to create, and that means create the opportunities for your dream clients to see you, for them to be aware of you, for them to then come and say, oh, wow, you're speaking directly to me. I love the way you look on Google, online. I love what you've got going on. I'm ready to raise my hand and have a high quality conversation with you. And if you listening to this already, there's going to be a link down below, Create Your Dream Firm program. I'd love to see if ultimately you are one of my dream clients, because not everybody is. You know, it's kind of crazy, but you got to be a positive person, got to be in my niche, have ambitious growth goals. You meet those, you ultimately have a few other very important criteria. There's a good chance you may qualify to join the Create Your Dream Firm program. Again, link will be down below if you are ultimately looking to explore that. But let's push that off to the side because it's Free Tool Friday time. I'm so excited. I love this tool. And that tool is Google My Business. Now, before we dive into the ins and outs of the tools, what I want you to just really think about very quickly is that when you are ultimately looking for a service provider, the question is always, always in the service industry, how do I know that I can trust you? How do I know that when you make the promise that when I take money out of my wallet and I give it to you for your accounting, your bookkeeping, your tax, your CFO level expertise, your tax planning, whatever it is, how do I know that it's a good deal? Well, I just have to trust your words. What if I could trust other people's words that are similar to myself? And ultimately, maybe that'll help me to trust you more in the process as well. Now, even if you're in startup mode, even if you're a solopreneur, you can still generate reviews. I assure you, I'm not saying do any black hat stuff, but you can still find a way to make sure that when you deliver a positive result for someone, that they are then willing to then share that positive experience that you created by being proactive about delivering your services. And when you do that, it makes it easier and easier and easier to attract the right people to you. It is a fundamental building block in attracting and winning the business of your dream clients. And that is why we're kicking off Free Tool Friday with this tool. So let's go ahead and dive in. But just remember, online reviews are the digital equivalency of gold. If you're going to write something down, write that down, because it is going to be a guiding lesson for you from now until you are in possession of your dream firm. So let's go ahead and dive into what I believe is the primary tool that allows you to easily get reviews and make sure that when people look at you, they can see them online. So here we go. Let's dive into Google My Business and kick off today's masterclass. Oh, and by the way, if you want the email copy that helps generate reviews, just comment #proactive down below. I'll make sure you get that email copy. All right. And away we go. No more talking about galette de roi. So first things first, Google My Business. You use Google. And so one of the things you'll notice is I'm in my Google Chrome window. In other words, if you look up in the top right, I'm logged in into both Chrome and I'm logged into my Gmail business suite, all sorts of things. This is helpful and useful because when you do it, now Google kind of recognizes what's going on. So I have this cool view where you'll see here, like I manage dream firms. We've got 42 5-star reviews. Would love to have you be one of the next ones. But the point here is when I do this, I'm Googling Google My Business so that I can just get to Google My Business. Okay. But that might be kind of abstract, right? You might say, well, what if I don't have a listing yet? Or what if there are certain things I need to be able to do? And so what I also do is I'll open up an incognito window. So this is basically a fresh browsing experience. I've already done it ahead of time because I came very prepared for today's masterclass. And so what that means is if I look at an incognito window, it'll look more like this. Okay. In other words, it doesn't have the dream firm stuff. So if you Google my business, in other words, Google my business. Okay. Say that 5 times fast. It'll show up something like this. Okay. Now, obviously, you can just simply go straight here and you can follow, let's translate it to English, and it will allow you to log in, or if you have an existing profile, you can manage it. This is the quickest way to be able to either create one and just follow the prompts. It's very straightforward and it changes a little bit. So rather than kind of like get stuck in the technical things of getting it set up, I'm going to try and do something a little bit different that I think is a little bit easier, because normally Google is pretty smart about knowing when there's a business that's operational. So for instance, if you have been active for just a little while and you've got maybe a website or you have something going on, maybe even office space, you can just Google your business name, right? Like I could Google dream firms and there's a pretty healthy chance that it'll show up. So I just Googled Steve CPA firm. I don't know who this is. I don't know Steve Richardson. I just typed this in and I was just curious to see if it would bring up Google My Business listing. And it did. So Steve Richardson, congratulations, Steve, by the way, 17 Google reviews, 5 stars. If I was in Tuscaloosa, I would probably think that I would trust this guy and at least be willing to explore what he has to offer if I was looking in my local market for some reason. Point being here is that if you can Google yourself, Google your own business name, there's a good chance you can literally just click on own this business. Like Google's really like, do you own this business? And even if you've claimed it, which is really weird, like even if you have marked yourself as the owner of the business, this will still display. I don't know why. It seems like it would be obvious that once it's been claimed, this would no longer be something that just like a random person can click on. Now, I'm not going to bother Steve Richardson because I'm sure he's a great guy, but I'm not going to bother him by clicking on this. But basically all it does is like, it will either say, hey, prove you own this business, right? Like, and there's just like a very simple way to do that. It'll walk you through it, or it'll say this business has already been claimed, right? And then you can't do anything, obviously, because it's not your business. Someone else has claimed it. So again, there's 2 ways to do this just to get it from the setup perspective. You can Google yourself. If this shows up, own this business, or just go directly to Google My Business and it will prompt you to log in. You need to have a Gmail account. And then you log in and then you will be able to search for your business or create a brand new listing. Again, just follow the prompts, guys. I don't want to go too deep into that because it takes a lot of time to go through that and it changes frequently. So what I want to do is I want to say, if you've created it or you've got it in your possession, how do we use it to get clients, right? Like that's the fun part. Let's focus on that first and foremost. Okay. So I'm going to swing it back over here to the non-incognito version where it's just like my Google Chrome, it's Dream Firms' Google My Business page. And what I'm going to do here is I'm simply just going to, if you're logged into G Suite, you can just go up here to Google My Business. Okay. Now, if you click on that, it's going to load ultimately a page that looks like this. Now, this can be kind of overwhelming because it's a lot of information at once. But if we just take it step by step, I assure you, this will be an incredibly powerful tool for you very quickly and very easily. So number 1, if there's something at the top, I normally like to say if Google's requesting information of you, it's normally a good idea to give it to them. I know, Big Brother, all that stuff, but it's for the purpose of your business. If they're asking for something, just be like, well, what are they asking for? Answer a few and update it with the latest info. It's like, okay, so why don't I go ahead and do that? And it's like, well, yeah, I'm open, right? I'm open for business. I know a lot of places are closed. This is obviously related to COVID. And it's just like, all right, I'll go ahead and save that. And all right, it's going to ask me for my open times. That's pretty standard because I have different hours at 5 a.m. because I have a time zone differences. So it's like, okay, no problem. That looks good to me. And it's probably going to be the only question it's going to ask if I had to guess. Okay, so it's going to ask some other COVID-related items. And so it's like you require customers to wear masks, like all these different things, but it says appointment required. Now, one of the major things I teach all my clients is that you should try and limit the number of just like inbound phone calls that just happen as much as possible. And I know for a lot of your businesses, that's a big shift. There are ways to strategically do that I'm more than happy to help you with or answer questions down below or ultimately as a part of our program. But the main point here is like appointments required. Like, yeah, that's a big one for me. And so like, other than that, like, I don't think I would necessarily do any of this because I'm not taking in-person visits, right? Unless you want to fly to France, which unfortunately you can't, no international travel. So if I go ahead and just hit save, I'm willing to bet this is the last question Google is going to ask of me right now. And again, it's just like, thanks for your update. It's going to push the listing. It basically shows you're interacting. And if you know anything about social media in general, the more you feed it, the more likely it is to give you something back. Now, the big problem with that is that it's usually a terrible use of your time to do that, except on the setup phase. And that's essentially what we're doing. So again, be proactive with me, #proactive down below to get that email copy that I'm going to offer for everyone who comments. So now that we've done that little bit of just like upkeep or maintenance, let's dive into the home screen. And really the major piece of, if you only take one thing from this, take this. There is a share review form. This is a one-click review form. As long as they have a Gmail account, and most people do, they can leave a review for you. And that review then gets populated on your Google My Business account. I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like. But again, you click on this and essentially it's going to say, well, how would you like to share this? Now, I don't really care about the Facebook, WhatsApp, and Twitter or the share via email. I know you can click them and it'll like maybe preload and do some stuff. I just want this. This is the solid gold. This is the best. This is the single best link, in my opinion, for free on the internet. Like, you take this link, okay? And the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to be like, well, what does it look like, right? Like, what happens when I drop this in here? What happens when I paste this and I do it? What's the experience like if I were to send this to my existing clients and ask them for a review? What does it look like? And then you go, oh, interesting. It immediately loads the review, right? Like, it immediately says, what do you want to do? Now, of course, I'm not going to review my own business, but this is the idea, right? It's like, it brings them in here. They can add a photo if they want. They can do all sorts of cool things to be able to just get those reviews. Like, you make it as simple as possible. It couldn't be any easier. It's just like, boop, click, load, write your review, done, right? Like, other things is like create a login and like do this and do that. Nobody wants to do that stuff. It's a waste of time, okay? And again, this is the most ubiquitous platform. Now, again, we can cover a little bit about this later, but what I want to do is I want to jump back to the overall layout of this home screen on Google My Business. And so we've got the share review form. And what I want to make sure you do with the share review form is you got to make it easily accessible to yourself. And what I mean by that is if I paste this in here, okay, I want to make sure that I create a bookmark for it. Now, this is a little bit more complicated, but I'm going to walk you guys through because it wouldn't be a very good masterclass if I did. Now, the problem is that if you try and bookmark the link that loads, it's not the same thing. It's kind of weird. It's kind of annoying. So let me show you kind of how to do this from Google Chrome, because this is the browser everybody should be using. It's the best. And so what you'll do is you just basically go to your bookmarks, okay? And then from your bookmarks, all you would need to do is you just go to Bookmarks Manager, okay? And then inside of Bookmarks Manager, you're basically just going to, let's see here. You can, it's been a while since I've created a bookmark. Let me see if there's an easier way to do it. Bookmark Manager, why am I struggling to remember how to do this right now? Okay, right here, top right, 3 icons, there we go. Add new bookmark. You're gonna just say review, right? Review. And then you're just going to literally paste the link that you took from Google My Business. Again, top right, add bookmark, just name it review, add this. I'm just going to put review 2.0 just because I already have a review link in here. And I'm going to save it. And you're going to notice it populated right here. Now, this is important because if you want to make it easy to get reviews, you have to make it easy to access the link that allows you to get reviews. And so the best way to do that is to bookmark it. And then you just right click, copy it. You just right click right on the bookmark bar and then boop, hey, hey, Joe really hope you enjoyed the CFO session we just did. Here's the link to like I referenced at the end of our call, to leave feedback on how well we did. And again, you're gonna have email copy as long as you comment down below. That will help you with that process. But the point here is that you need to have that. And again, you can see here, I've got two. I've got review and I've got Google My Business, right? I want to see what it looks like when someone else looks at me. And if I want to make any updates or changes, which we'll cover in a second, I can look at it quickly and also send people to and be like, hey, check out our reviews, right? Like that's the other part of this that we're going to get to in just a second. So I'm going to delete the old one. I've already got it over here. This is my one. Point is, again, make sure you bookmark your one-click review link so you make it easy to then send to existing clients to request their feedback. Simple as that, okay? Second part here. What you're doing is you want to make sure that you know how well you look when someone looks at you online, right? It's like sometimes it's like hard to like get outside of our subjective experience, but the good news is Google makes it easy, right? They want you to know how you look so you can spend more time on their platforms and ultimately make it better. So slightly down here, you can see that there are two main links. Now, I only keep the view on maps one. I don't particularly care too much about the view on search one. It's preference. It's just what you ultimately want to do. But I'm going to open both of these. Quick tip. If you hold Control, you will open up new tabs. So I just opened up two tabs in the top left. Just hold Control, click, click, opens up new tabs. It's a fun little... Anyway, little work hack. Anyhow, so I opened up my search and my maps view. So I'm going to look at my maps view first. And again, this is another link that I like to save. Same process I showed you before in Bookmark Manager, right? You go into Bookmark Manager. Actually, I think you can just star this one from right here. Yeah, you can. So another quick hot tip is if you want to just, or hotkey is if you just want to bookmark straight from here. Just bookmark, it'll tell you what to do, right? I'm not going to do it obviously, but that would put it right on your bookmark bar. Okay, so now when someone's like, well, you know, I want to see your reviews, or like, can you tell me a little bit about you, or like, you know, what are your testimonials? I say, oh yeah, sure, no problem. Like, here you go. Like, this is what we look like online, and I'll just go boop, and I'll shoot this out to them. Bada bing, bada boom. They can see us. They can look at our photos. They can look at all sorts of things. And of course, you could also send them directly to this, right? Where it's like, if you love the way you look when this loads, you might want to say, you know what? This is nice. And so the key to all of Google My Business is that if someone Googles you, you have control over what they see. You have control. How much more trust does that build when someone sees this and it doesn't just look like some random stock photo, right? Even if we go back to what my buddy Steve, like, this is okay. It's not fantastic, but I would much rather it be similar to an excited picture of, like, even if it's just like two people smiling, right? You and like, where's the life here? Stock photos, no life. It's basically, it's like, it's bad. You don't want to use them. Just again, another tip here. Key to this being, again, you control the overall look and flow and feel. Now we're going to dive into the bottom of this in just a minute here, because I think this is probably what most people are criminally neglecting right now, but I'm going to show you how to make sure you do it in a high quality way. Wouldn't be a masterclass if we didn't do that. Okay. So again, bookmark either one of these. That way it's just like, hey, check out how good we are, right? Check out my Google My Business. They can see all your reviews. So we covered get more reviews. We covered how to get quick links. So we got two primary links, but we've got a few other things to do here. Okay. Inside of Google My Business, there is an internal posting platform. Now, I don't expect the post to do a whole lot other than prove to Google, again, I'm feeding it engagement. I'm saying like, hey, this is what we do. And also, if someone's going to look at us and they come down here and they go, well, what's this about, right? Like, get one free CPA. You might say, you know, whatever offer you're running, get 10% off your return, get 1 month of bookkeeping free when you sign up this month, or tax planning is bundled into our CFO services officially. Like, what's new? Got a new certification? Like, what's going on? And then you're basically taking your reviews, okay? And you're creating, because they're public reviews written online, you're taking those reviews and you're sharing them again so that when people are looking at you, now it's got more life again, right? It's got the faces, it's got the quotes. And then we've got a little call to action here. And when you click on this, it's going to take you somewhere. So again, I know this is specific to me, but my whole point is that it's the same for you. It's just a little bit of a change. Who's the person? What's the quote? And what are you offering? That's it. It's the only difference. It's the only difference. So how do you actually do that? How do you go about creating those posts? Well, there's a separate tab over here on the left, and you can get to it straight from this homepage right here. You just click create post, or if you click see more, guess what it's going to do? It's going to take you to the post section. Okay. So now you can really see the way all of them are orchestrated, set up, everything that you got going on. And so if it's an offer, you add an offer. If it's an update, you can add an update, right? If you've got an event going on, all sorts of cool things that you can ultimately do. My best advice to you is just play around with this. It's pretty straightforward. And like, again, I can just show you, it's like, I clicked on add an offer. So if I have an offer, is there an end date to offer? Yes or no? Typically speaking, most of the things that we do are updates, right? Because there really aren't end dates on our things. It's just like, hey, come get your CPAs, or hey, come check out our webinar, or hey, like we don't really have too many things that are just like, this ends. Sometimes we do. We will next week. More on that later. However, you've got this here, you add your photos, you write your posts, and then you just make sure that you ultimately pick the button that works best for you. Book, order online, learn more. I tend to like learn more. I think it's the softer of the few, unless you're saying, hey, book your call. Well, then you're of course going to just pick book, and then you're going to put a link that's going to direct them to your scheduling link. If you don't know what a scheduling link is or how to set that up, buy Igniter. It's $47, walk you through that all. Okay. And the thing is that, like, again, when you look at the page, the key here is like, does it have life? I want it to have life. I want it to have as much life as I can give it, because I want them to know what we're all about. And the same thing should be true for you. Okay. So again, that's how you ultimately create posts. Again, I like to set a frequency of maybe once per week. And the thing is when you do once per week, you're going to do once, you're going to have this basically the same content across LinkedIn, Facebook, Google My Business. But the problem most people have, and I'll do a separate lesson specifically on content. The problem most people have is they have shotgun content. They sign up for like ClientWise, or they sign up for these just sort of like very generic stock photo heavy, non-meaningful, just like, I did social media, it didn't work. And I go, well, where's you? Where's your vision? Where's your voice? Where's your message? If you don't have those things, well, you don't really do social media. You're just like checking an empty box, and it's not going to do anything for you, because it's meant to build trust. And the only way to build trust is through authenticity. And there's no way to have authenticity through these shotgun style social media services. So again, just some feedback there for you in case you're struggling with that. And if you're struggling, you just got to make a change. Okay, so we covered posts. We are now moving into info. Now, info is an interesting one, because what did I start this off with? If Google's asking you for information, it's usually a very good idea to give this information to Google. So what I want you to do is I want you to come here, and I want you to make sure you fill out all of the information that you possibly can. Just give it everything it has. Now, I intentionally remove the phone number. We don't have inbound dials. You can only book calls. That's just how we structure our organization. I think it's very inefficient to have phone numbers. It just doesn't let everyone prepare for the calls equally. And so again, here you've got the main things, right? You've got products. I don't think anyone's really selling products. We tend to be in the service industry, so it's okay if that's blank. You've got your appointment link. You'll want a dedicated link specifically for Google My Business, because that way you know how many scheduled appointments come through your Google My Business listing. It's a very covert way to track. You just create a separate booking link and put it in Google My Business, and don't use it anywhere else. And that way, every time you get an appointment, you know it came from this platform. Again, just sort of like some next level things. And it's just, again, if you don't know how to do that, Igniter. So when you're down here, you're looking at services, and inside of services, there's actually there's a little bit of a different place that you can do this from. That's better in my opinion. So I'm going to actually just kind of like skip over that, but there are other things you can do as well, right? Like you can, if you have a primary headline, if you watch Tim McNeely's interview from 2 weeks ago, like everyone was like, oh my God, that was so amazing. Like, how did he come up with that? It said everything it needed to, specific to dentists. It talks about wealth. Like, that's so good. That's what we do in the Create Your Dream Firm program. And this is our primary headline. We help entrepreneur accountants create generational wealth and impact by systemizing how they attract and win the business of their dream clients. If you read that and it speaks to you, you should say, well, I'm interested in at least clicking around, learning a little bit more. What is that one sentence that if someone could read about you, it tells you what you do, who it's for, and ultimately what the big promises that you make to them. Okay, so again, I am going to just not go through too much more of this because I much rather go through it in a slightly different place. So we're just going to keep going down, but we will come back to the services side specifically for you in just a second. So insights, okay? Ooh, so you can see how well you're doing, right? Like this is one of the funnest parts about online marketing in general is that you can see how well you're performing. It gives you real-time feedback, right? And like what's crazy about this is like most people are directly searching for us. And again, that's a larger part of our overall marketing strategy because we don't have a local market presence. But if we did, and we were trying to, and people were actively searching for like marketing for accountants in Florida, we would dominate because nobody would even come close to touching how many reviews we'd have, but nobody really searches for it. And that's not our game. But it doesn't mean we don't leverage it. And the same thing's true for you. You might say, well, I don't really have a local market. I don't want to, I work nationally. It's fine, right? It's not a problem. That's not the point. The point is that you want to drive reviews somewhere that is easily accessible online. And this is the best place to do it. Okay. Drop one down, right? And you can look at all these different metrics. There's all sorts of different things that it tells you. I don't put too much into it other than I kind of want to see it grow over time. And the best way to do that is to drive reviews. Now let's say that you've generated some reviews. Okay. If we go back to our friend Steve real quick. Okay. Steve did a good job, but it was a job partially left undone. Okay. And Steve, if you're listening to this, trying to help you out here, buddy. No harm, no foul. Probably just don't know that you can do this. And again, this is why I'm doing the masterclass. So inside of this, right, he's got a number of really good reviews, right? 5 stars. He's all 5 stars. Larry, loving him, right? But where is Steve's responses to these, right? I want a proactive accountant. I want one who's communicating. Number one reason people leave their accounting firm, lack of communication. Steve is getting great information, but he's not communicating back to them. Why not? Probably just doesn't know that he can, right? It's not that if he knew, I'm sure he'd do it. And so what you get to do then is you get to respond and you get to, again, show your character, show your life. And so when someone takes time away from their business to help share their story about what I've done for them or help them to do, I want to make sure I reply to that. And the nice thing is Google makes this extremely easy. Replied, haven't replied. You should every single day should be haven't replied. And if you have Google My Business app on your phone, it's like the only notification I let happen on my phone. When we get a new review, bing, I'm like, oh, got to respond, right? Like, got to show I'm proactive, got to get on it. So again, that's one of the ways that you can just make sure that your response time is incredibly efficient, right? 4 days ago, 4 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I want that to be what people see is like, how responsive are you? And this is one of the ways in which you can do that. Even if it's something as simple as like, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You don't need these like long emoji based, but I do because I want, again, it's character. It shows fun. It shows that we have fun in the program. If you want to have fun, come work with us. Okay. So very simple, straightforward. That's how you manage your reviews. Messages is weird to me because it sounds like it would be awesome. Because there's a direct way to message businesses on Google My Business. I'm not even, see, the thing is, I don't think it's even able to be found. And I'm going to just like double check Steve real quick. It might only be from mobile. It might just be the ask a question one. And I think that might create the message response. I honestly don't know because I've never had anyone like do it to me. But again, if you guys find out, drop it down below in the comments, teach me something. That'd be cool too, right? So, again, I've never had it happen. I don't really know what it is. I've set it up. Again, it'll prompt you to set it up. It's like, do you want to accept messages? Yeah. Boop. Okay. Now photos. When you go to, create, this is kind of weird to me because I feel like it should do this and it doesn't, but when you go to create a post, okay, it doesn't take that post and turn it into a photo, which kind of annoys me. I thought it would, but it doesn't. So uploading photos and uploading posts are different. And so if you want to keep that presence just kind of going, where it's like you've got all these 5-star reviews and you've got all these testimonials, because you're putting all that effort into creating the post anyway, to me, it's almost like, well, why wouldn't you just double that up and also then add the photos directly on here? Again, it's just feeding it more content. The goal here is you shouldn't be doing this. This is a terrible use of the entrepreneur's time. You need someone to help you do this. Again, we teach this as part of the program. But the key here is delegation and leverage. You can't do it, but it needs to be directed and guided by you. So it has your flair, speaks to you. Again, there are just certain systems that need to be in place to maximize that. And this is something for me. Our system isn't ultimately accounting for this. And now it will, I guarantee it will, starting next week. Okay. Products. If for some reason you have physical products, obviously you can set these up. I don't, there's no reason to do this unless you're physically selling items. Services. Now that is what we do. Okay. Now, this is very important to set up. Okay. Because this basically is what you're telling Google. If someone's looking for this, someone's searching for these things, please let them know that I can do this for them. Okay. Now, I'll even admit ours can be updated. I haven't looked at this since I set it up, but at the time I was like, this is good enough. I've looked at it now. I'm going to say, you know what? I think this can be a little bit better. Here's the point. When you go to add a business category, you will think, what do I want to be known for? Right? Am I a tax consultant? Am I a bookkeeper? Am I a CFO? Right? So I'm just going to go with tax and just see what comes up. Okay. Now you're not a taxi stand. I don't know, maybe you moonlight as a taxi. That's taxi driver. That's cool, but probably not. Right? So you're probably going to say, okay, are you a tax assessor, attorney, preparation, collectors, right? Like what are you doing in terms of tax? And so it will typically fill some things out. I tend to think that if you have your CPA, that's normally the number one thing that I would put on here. Again, that's just me. I think if you put certified or if you put a CFO, chief financial, no, I think it's really under consulting. Is there financial consulting? There is. So if you're more like CFO, coaching, I would go with financial consultant. But again, just kind of like play around, see what comes closest to what you do, and then pick that. And once you pick that, you'll be able to add services that are kind of like under that umbrella category. And again, it's like, well, telemarketing, right? NCI style. That's my father's company that does that or used to do it. And so, and you can maybe add a custom service. Like they didn't have digital marketing and sales coaching for accountants, needless to say. I had to create a custom service that represented that. So you can still play around with this. But again, fill it out to the best of your abilities. I'm going to have a to-do note after this masterclass to just ultimately make sure that that's the case. Okay. So there's really only like 2 or 3 elements left to being able to maximize Google My Business. If you are, and I just had a conversation with one of my top clients about this particular topic, if you are paying for a SEO website and you ask them for your SEO report and it comes to you, and my client forwarded me his, and it was like 70 pages long of nothing. It meant nothing because I was just like, I just want to see how many times are we ranked on the first page. That's the one thing I care about. And sure enough, it was like on the most meaningless terms with 0 search traffic. And I was just like, okay. And he's been investing in it for years. And I was like, it's time to cut this out. It's not producing anything. Either you have the wrong service provider or it's time to reallocate this. And so when most people, again, look at the numbers, the investment versus the return, and whether or not it's generating clicks, generating traffic, they go, you know what? It's time to save some money. Okay, if that's you and you're like, Get Set Net, CPA site pollutions, using any of these websites, and you're just like not sure, ask for your SEO report and make sure that if you have any one-page rankings that they actually generate traffic. Like if it's just an area code and then CPA or tax, no one is typing in area codes and looking for services. Okay. I assure you, because Don't believe me. Look at the report. The report will say like less than 10 searches per month. And then everything else that might be meaningful that has like 100 searches, like CPA in metropolitan area or a tax, you're not on the first page. And if you are, then it's a good investment. If you're not, make a different investment. Take that money, reapply it to stuff that actually works. Okay. So if that's the case, you can get a free website right here. I already did a free tool Friday on this, but look, it takes the information you've given that you fed to it and it shares it on here and it looks great overall. Like for a free website, this thing's awesome, to be honest. Like it's straightforward. It's simple. It lists all your business's information. As long as you have your primary headline, right? You can even edit it. You can do fun things with it. Like I love this so much that this is a part of this for free. Now, some of you might be saying, but Tyler, wait a minute, right? I can see up here, it says $12 per year. You trying to get one over on me? And it's like, no, I'm not trying to get one over on you. This is the domain. If you don't own stevecpafirm.com, just use the example from earlier, well, you have to buy it. And if you have it, this is free. It doesn't cost anything, okay? It's awesome. Users, if you have an administrative assistant, you have a social media manager, you're going to add them here so they can come in and take care of things for you. If you have multiple locations, you're going to go to businesses down here. And I believe that this is where you would just add a business. Okay. So you just feel like, boop, there it is, shoot it out. And ultimately you are good to go. So that is your Google My Business Masterclass. And it looks like I got it done in under 40 minutes. Not bad, pretty proactive. Hashtag proactive down below. So listen, I want to just do a very quick recap for those who might have joined a little bit late. If you comment down below, you will get pre-written email copy that helps you to generate reviews. Proven email copy that works. And if you followed through, you've got your one-click review link. That's all you need, ladies and gentlemen. That's all you need to be able to start generating reviews. Reviews with the digital equivalency of gold. You take those reviews, you can share them in different places. You can put them as posts on Google My Business. You build trust. When people look you up online, they're more likely to want to take you up on a phone call or ultimately buy your services. And the proof is in the pudding, right? Like, would you rather work with Dream Firms that has a 42 reviews, all 5 stars, or would you rather work with another firm that you can't even see them online, right? Like you're like, okay, you've got some written testimonials on a landing page. I don't even know if they're true. Like these people are real. You can look them up. You know what I mean? Like you can contact them if you felt it was appropriate. You just look at the reviews and you go, okay, these people are legit, right? And it's like, I like what they're saying. I like the results they're getting. Same thing is true for you. Like I know I'm using myself as an example, but if you look up my clients, you're going to see the same thing. Right? Like go look at their Google My Business pages and you're gonna be like, oh, interesting. Like they all have reviews. And it's like, of course they do. It's one of the fundamental strategies that leads to tangible results online. So you have to get them. And if you want them, hashtag proactive, get the pre-written email copy. I love writing copy. Like I love doing it. Get it from me for free, prove you're proactive. And let's crush 2021. You want to crush 2021, you set the tone in Q1. Do not let and I'm going to explain this next free tool Friday. Do not let the myth of tax season hold you back. Myth? What do you mean, Tyler? It's real. I know it's real. Yes, true. But more on that ultimately next week. What is the myth of tax season? And should you be believing in that myth? And how are we going to help you to break out of that permanently for good and ultimately build your dream firm? And if you want to jump ahead of the line that's building, guess what? Apply for the Create Your Dream Firm program. Let me work with you and maybe we can crown you as king of or queen of your respective dream firm. Welcome to 2021. And again, we will see you next week, same time. Very exciting. And remember, only you can make your dream firm a reality, but we are here to help you every single step of the way. Be proactive, set the tone in Q1 for 2021, and go build your dream firm as efficiently as possible.